This morning on BRN, more than half of Americans plan to spend less on fun purchases this year. We're going to welcome back to the program Ted Rossman of Bankrate. Ted, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us on the program this morning.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
It's always great to check in with you when it comes to credit cards, when it comes to spending. When I pull my wallet out, you're the first person I think about, Ted. I just want you to know that.
Gotta use the right card, get those rewards, right?
Absolutely. Before I pay, I think, what would Ted say? But in all seriousness, Ted, Bankrate just came out with its 2025 discretionary spending report. What's the headline here? Are people going to be spending as much on food, entertainment as they have in years past?
People say they're cutting back. 54% say they're planning to spend less this year on travel, dining, or live entertainment relative to last year. That's 5 percentage points more than the group that said they cut back from 23 to 24. I take this with a healthy grain of salt, though.
Mhm.
There's a big disconnect right now between what people are saying about the economy and what they're actually doing. I find this really fascinating that consumer sentiment has been in the dumps really for 5 years now, ever since the pandemic. And it's taken another leg downward recently. People are worried about tariffs on top of already high prices and high interest rates. They're worried about the possibility about a recession. But you wouldn't know those worries by looking at some of the actual spending figures. The TSA is on track to process a record number of air travelers this year. Bar and restaurant sales grew 8% in April year over year, according to the Census Bureau. Actual spending has been a lot more robust than sentiment.
So what drives that, Ted? I mean, you mentioned tariffs. You talked about some of the, I think egg prices have come down, if I'm not mistaken. I think gas prices have come down. The market, the stock market, the volatility, I think has ebbed a little bit. I think in recent weeks the market has gone up. So what are people keying off of when it comes to their sentiment and whether they're going to spend or not?
There are a lot of conflicting factors going on here. You're right that travel prices have come down a little bit. So that's a good thing. That's one of the few categories we can say that about. Airline fares are down 8% year over year, according to the Consumer Price Index. Gas prices are down about 10%, according to AAA. That's providing a little bit of breathing room. Now, we know everything else is expensive, so that's feeding into some of the talk about everything is just too costly, whether it's housing or medical care or groceries or things like that. There is this disconnect, though, between what people say and what they do. The job market's been stronger than many give it credit for. That's one of the things that's continued to prop up spending. I know it doesn't feel great if you get a raise and you feel like it just goes to offsetting all these higher prices, but the job market has been better. Many people have also dipped into savings and they've taken on debt. That part's not so good. Upper income households are propping up some of these statistics. So there's a lot of income inequality. A lot of lower and middle income people are not feeling as good about things. There are just so many interesting things going on when it comes to how people spend. Young people are prioritizing experiences. That's the you only live once kind of thing that really intensified during and after the pandemic. I'm surprised that trend has had so much room to run, but it does seem that there has been a fundamental shift there. It's a lot of Gen Zers and millennials who are saying that even if we're pessimistic about other parts of our finances, and even if it means taking on debt, we still want to take that trip.
Yeah, how do you reconcile it? I don't know if you can hear my cat. She's squealing or meowing in the background. So if to the audience, hopefully Posey is not creating a distraction. But how do you reconcile all this against the credit card um, balances that you and I have talked about for years now? I mean, it seems like the balances have not gone down; they've gone up. People are just it's anecdotally, it seems like the people are just wanting to kind of push this aside and say, "Buy now, pay later."
Is sometimes even literally with that whole industry of companies like Affirm and Klarna and Afterpay, which often positions itself as the anti-credit card, trying to be a little kinder and gentler and saying, well, it could be interest-free for 6 weeks, or even if it's one of those interest-bearing 6 or 12 month plans, at least there's a fixed end date. Debt is a big part of the backdrop of this story. Credit card balances are near record highs. Credit card rates are near record highs. Many people seem okay with that. Our survey found that about 4 in 10 Gen Zers and millennials are taking on debt for these kind of discretionary expenses like travel and dining. Only about 1 in 4 boomers and Gen Xers are willing to take on debt for these kind of things. It is a form of revenge spending in a way. There's a lot of 20 and 30 somethings who are pessimistic about student loans and housing costs and childcare costs, and they feel like all of those goals are far off, but they can still go on the trip. They can still go to the music festival or go out to eat. There is very much a live for today kind of thing, even if it means paying for it later on. I don't want to tell people they can't have any fun, but I would say let's try to avoid this pricey debt if we can. The average credit card charges 20%. It's
Yeah.
best to save up until you can pay for it without taking on debt. Maybe be flexible. Maybe zig when others zag. Maybe, travel on midweek instead of the weekend, or drive instead of fly, or take a connecting flight, or an early flight, or a late flight, or go somewhere during the off season or the shoulder season. There are some ways to save and still have fun.
Ted, as you were talking, I think about my own purchasing habits. The euphoria of buying something. I like guitars. I like to play music. I'm not a foodie, but I do like to have my chicken and broccoli with the sauce on the side, giving maybe a little bit TMI there. But how do you balance that euphoria of getting a thing? And then, it's like the young kid with the toy. Eventually, that euphoria subsides. I mean, it is a lot of get now, enjoy a thing, and then eventually, I think there's a little bit of regret there.
There can be. Yeah, we found that in our recent Buy Now, Pay Later survey, where we found about half of users have had some sort of financial problem, whether it's overspending or missing a payment or regrets. Those were the top three worries. To me, a lot of it comes back to setting a budget, sticking to it. A lot of people either don't keep a budget, or if they do, they only account for the necessities. You want to build some fun into that, whether that's travel or dining or concert tickets or sports or new clothes, or kind of whatever your vice is. Make sure that you're accounting for that, and then it's guilt free. I mean, as long as you've set money aside for it, you're good. It's when you're adding expenses on top of expenses and paying 20% interest and making minimum payments and dragging it out, that's when it becomes more problematic. There might be an opportunity to scale back some of the plans too. Again, not that you can't have any fun, but maybe a long weekend makes more sense than a week. Maybe a domestic trip makes more sense than some pricey international trip that's going to land you in debt. Maybe even a staycation if all else fails. Play tourist in your local area, relax, recharge. That can be an option.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with those TSA lines and some of the other outages that have occurred, and maybe just maybe go to grandma's house and grandpa's house and chill out. Ted, we're gonna have to leave it there. Great report as always. Great analysis, and look, we look forward to having you back again on the program very soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, for all the news in one place. Details, of course, at our website. And your subscription helps support all this great BRN content. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRN. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.